There we go. Yeah, okay. So I decided to make another video. Well, I'm probably going to schedule this one a little bit later. Just because I'm at the end of a 36-hour fast that wound up turning into like a 40-something hour fast, unintentionally, but it usually does. You know, yeah, 40 hours and a half. So 40 hours and 35 minutes. And that's just because fasting gets addictive, and you tend to have a lot more energy. I've already done my Dao-Yin, my Tai Chi. Didn't do any yoga or calisthenics or anything today, but the Dao-Yin's usually enough. And so this is going to be an interesting one. This is one I've tried to talk to before. I think I've got the audio issues worked out. It was working on my the audio program that I record my classes on. I don't know how it's going to be in this video though, but we'll see. Hopefully I can get that figured out eventually. So this is, I've got something that I want to cover, but I'm going to try to get through it as fast as I can, because I think hopefully I can segue into something else that I would kind of rather talk about. So I'm going to try to make this a twofer. All right. And I've already messed up. I do have notes on this one, just because I was inspired to write some notes this time. And I've already messed up my big intro. I was going to make one of those big YouTube intros where I make a statement and then like go into it. But anyway, they are not the one. There, now, now we can get into it. So I know you've seen the headline for this. That's why you clicked on it. More than likely, the whole Blindsided by Soulmates and Twin Flames, etc. So I'm sorry that this is not going to be your usual sort of New Agey, and I don't usually get down on New Agey stuff like most people do. You know, that's I'm going to take this off because there's a glare. You know, most people tend to put themselves into like a morally, spiritually, it's what I call spiritual dick measuring. Okay, a spiritual dick measuring contest, and there's way too much of that out there. And so people would rather say, oh, I don't have anything to do with that. And so anything they don't like, they're like, that's New Age, you know. And they get this rather superiority sort of complex about different things. But, and Soulmates and Twin Flames often get in it. And what I'm going to go over here, it's not going to be your usual fare. So no, I'm sorry to not confirm, you know, the usual sort of New Agey YouTube videos on Twin Flames and stuff and say, oh, they're the one, just wait, just wait. No, you are the one, the only one. And if you haven't figured that out yet, then your relationships are going to keep reflecting this lack inside, okay? And it's never going to be perfect. Trust me, I just sort of got out of a relationship that where it was like, okay, well, this is, you know, went down this entire like Santa's checklist, and it's like everything's great except, oh, this one little thing, you know? And it's like, well, but my one will be perfect, you know, is what I was told. I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't work like that. You know, A, you are the one, and B, if you're going to be in a relationship, it takes work. You know, there's no other way around it. There's no, you know, coming together and being like, oh, it's perfect. Trust me, I've been in those relationships where there's this expectation for everything to be perfect on both sides, and it's bullshit. You can't expect everything to be perfect. You have to work at things. You have to be willing to work on yourself and make adjustments for the other person so that they can come into your life, and you know, and vice versa. And again, if there's no, if those adjustments are only one-sided, then that's not going to work. You know, if somebody said, oh, you have to make adjustments for me, you know, you have to accept this about me, but then you have to change all of these things about yourself, you know. And it's like, well, no. I'm sorry, that doesn't work. But both sides need to be able to make some conciliatory efforts. I hope I used the right word there. Okay, so this is coming really from a feeling based, having experienced karmic relationships, casual relationships, which the two, and I'm going to get into this, the two can sometimes be mixed together. Soulmates, I know of two, you know, and twin flames. Fortunately, I know one. And it's not quite what everybody says it is. None of this really is. Okay, all of this really does come down to karmic connections on different levels, and none of these, I'm going to say, are the one, but they can be the one. So I'm not saying that they aren't the one either. You know, not saying that they aren't the one that you will, you know, go through the rest of your physical, mortal life with or whatever. I'm just saying that it's not necessary, okay? Again, realize that you are the one, and we'll get into the rest of this, okay? Casual and karmic interactions can tend to be interlinked. You come together, you get stuff done, and then you go your separate ways. And this can be, you know, sort of pleasant or chaotic. I've had chaotic ones and those tend to last a lot longer, you know, where you have, you know, maybe for quite a while, and all these things are getting processed between the two. And then karmic relationships tend to end, they can end good or bad, but once everything has been processed and you reach that certain point, you're like, okay, I've kind of gone as far as I can with this person, you know, spiritually and energetically. Again, when we talk about feeling, I'm really talking about when, not just, oh, my feelings. No, when you can expand yourself, and if you spend as much time surfing this sort of etheric web as I do, and get out and, you know, actually feel what things are, rather than just, oh, my feelings, my emotions, which are really just ego based, then, you know, that's when you can really feel these things, you know. So karmic and casual, you come together maybe for a while, maybe briefly, and then things are done, and then it's just sort of like, oh, okay. And usually you'll find that things are wrapped up. It's like, I had one a while back, a few months ago, where things that were blocked inside of us were unraveled, you know. So we had these knots inside of us, and then were unraveled, and then all of a sudden we were like, oh, and it ended very pleasantly. We were like, oh, okay, well, I think we've done everything that we can. This was very great, you know. But and so this person went back to the previous partner from years ago that, you know, they had kind of been running from. And it was like, oh, okay, you need to go there. That's fine. And I need to go here. And that's when I started making all these sort of adjustments in my life. It was very pleasant and, you know, and great, actually. I want to take a minute and talk about codependent relationships. And this isn't going to be a clinical term, but as far as like the Barefoot Doctor. Okay, so Stephen Russell, the Barefoot Doctor, who I hold in extremely high regard. A healthy relationship is going to be two energy producing individuals, okay, that come together, and again, they're both generating energy, they're both, you know, doing basically, rather than just a vampiric relationship where, you know, give me more, and then, you know, usually those will suck you dry and then leave you for dead. Anything else is going to be codependent to, you know, different degrees. And you see this a lot with, again, the casual and karmic relationships. Soulmates, you feel, I've known two in my life. It's where you feel like the energy is the same. You know, it's like a safe haven. It's like being in sort of your, it's like the energy just keeps multiplying and multiplying and multiplying, so that, you know, the more time that you spend together, you feel this field just generating. And I think people get those mixed up with twin flames a lot. But yeah, so it's this very pleasant experience. I mean, the relationship might not always end pleasantly, but it will kind of end in a way where it's like, okay, well, maybe I need to process some things, but, you know, generally you will become a better person. It's like, because your energy is giving to them, their energy is giving to you. It's like, you know, and this thing grows and grows and grows. I think twin flames can get that way, but let's get into that, okay? Twin flame, I prefer mirror soul, and this can be chaotic and toxic AF. All right, but, and there's a big but, it's the reflection of who you are and how you treat yourself. Okay, so if you meet your twin flames, and you will tend to know, because on a very high level, you two will basically just pounce on each other, you know. And what I think is happening, I think there may be a grain of truth in, like, the original, like, two souls, you know. But what I think happens over time is that really what's drawing together is this karmic trauma bonding and codependency that's going on lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So much so that, like, everything is so ingrained in the two of you. And so it's really, again, you don't have to wind up with this person. It's really this idea that you should probably, that you just need to heal. So whatever's being brought up, whatever you don't like in the other person, look towards yourself. That's something that you need to heal. All right? And trust me, they could even be trying to kill you or your family, and or your family, I should say that. But, you know, and we'll get into that in a minute. But you'll realize that they tend to bring out the best and the worst in you. And so, like, you will find yourself saying and doing these things that you would never do in any other circumstance. And you're like, why the hell did I do that? And then you realize over time that you're treating this person like you treat yourself, you know. And then you realize how terribly you treat yourself. And then that's when it becomes time to do the inner work, so that is not reflected. It's like the grand reflection. Everything and everyone is sort of a reflection of yourself, just as you are a reflection of everything else. Indra's net, you know, but that is like the grand reflection when you meet this person. And sometimes it is like through a mirror darkly, for both, you know. I'm not saying, oh, one's good, one's bad, one's positive, one's negative. No, you're both positive and negative. You're both complete. It's just like, sometimes it's like the exact opposite of everything, yet just it sort of fits into this weird puzzle. And once again, I want to remind you, you do not have to end up with this person, but you can, you know. It doesn't really matter. It just highlights everything you need to heal. So at the end, so coming back to maybe they're trying to kill you or whatever, the way that the whole point of all of this is you got to focus on what's being reflected, and you have to heal that with unconditional love and acceptance and worthiness towards self and other. Okay? So if you're generally hard on yourself, like I used to be, and, you know, you had to crack, and then sometimes you would snap, and then you do tend to see this happen a lot with twin flames, that they kind of, like, it becomes so intense, and, you know, life becomes so intense when they're together, because all this chaotic energy is just flowing around, that you tend to shut down and run away, you know. And that's really you shutting down to yourself. So again, eventually you have to realize that you have to come back to yourself. It's not coming back to the other person. You never have to speak to this person for the rest of your life, or you can. It doesn't matter. It's the important thing is your relationship with yourself. Again, you are the one. You are worthy. You need to accept yourself on every single level. That's the work. That's the grand work. And then that can be reflected back to the other, and hopefully and if that goes into themselves and they can accept that, then that can be reflected back to you, and then, you know, this grand level healing can begin. But it doesn't matter. What really matters is what goes on in your life and your consciousness. Okay? I didn't get into the other thing that I want to talk about, and we're already at like 16 minutes, so I guess I'll make another video somewhere down the road. I did want to talk about Tai Chi and and some concepts around that. I was hoping it would get into that and the dance and manifestation and everything. But I guess that will be the next video. So, thank you very much. On to the next one.